Today in our 2002 Dodge Ram 2500, we're going to be taking a look at and installing the B&W Custom Underbed Installation Kit for the companion fifth wheel trailer hitches, part number BWG NRK 1394-5W. This fifth wheel installation kit is designed to let you install your B&W companion fifth wheel trailer hitches. The adapters that work with this are part number BWR VK3500 or part number BWR VK3400. The underbed design of this kit allows for full truck bed access, and when you're ready, it's under 5 minutes to convert your empty truck bed into a fifth wheel hitch. We'll start off by unlocking our B&W hitch and installing our fifth wheel adapter. We have ours pre-assembled, but you can adjust the uprights here depending on your truck and trailer combination. At this point, the hitch is ready to attach to the trailer. There's a little clip here that you release. Basically, it's a safety pin. Then, you swing the handle out and you can watch the jaws open. You're ready to back onto your trailer. Once they're secure onto your trailer, you can reinstall the clip. And since this fifth wheel installation kit doubles as a gooseneck hitch, when you're not towing your fifth wheel, you can remove it. This frees up the hole to reinsert the hitch ball when you need it. Now, we'll go ahead and show you how to install the custom underbed kit for the B&W companion fifth wheel trailer hitches. First thing we'll need to do is we'll need to measure in order to know where we're going to cut our hole for our gooseneck ball to come through. And you will want to be sure to refer to your instructions because it's a different measurement for the short bed and the long bed. And we're working with the short bed today. So I'm going to get my measurement and I'm going to eyeball it to try and make sure it's as close to center as possible. And then what I'll do is I'll measure side to side between the wheel wells to see if that's pretty well centered. So there's our mark where we're going to be drilling through. I'm going to start with just a pilot hole here. That way I have a little bit of a guide for the bit in the hole saw. I'm just going to take a little bit of black spray paint and spray it on the inside of this exposed metal edge that we just created by drilling our 4-inch hole. I'm doing that just to kind of help prevent it from rusting around this hole. I've gone ahead and removed the spare tire to give myself a little bit more room to work. On this particular vehicle, it has an aftermarket exhaust, so I'm going to need to take these exhaust hangers down so that I can let this exhaust hang a little bit to gain better access to where I'll be working up here. Now on this, for me to get this exhaust hanger off, I'm going to break these little rings. They just help retain it to keep it on there. Take a pair of pliers of some kind and break those off there, and then I should be able to get my rubber exhaust hanger to come off the end here. And I'll do the same thing on this one. And channel locks work really well for getting these off there. If you don't have a pair of channel locks, you can also use a pry bar. Then I'll do the same thing on those two up there. But you will want to be sure to put some sort of support strap so that the exhaust does not fall. Here we've got our two cross rails, and these rails, as you can see, are different. One's in the shape of an L, and the other one's just a thick, solid piece of steel there. This one that's L-shaped is going to be the one that's going to be our rear cross member that's going to go towards the rear of the truck, and the solid one's going to be our front one. The first thing I'll need to do is take this rear cross member. I'll slide it up across there until I can get it past the shock over here. And I can slide it back across. What you can do is you can take a flathead screwdriver or a pry bar, just put it under there in order to help you flip it. And once you've got it up there, you'll want to get it moved all the way back here. You may just need to tap it a little bit. Now we can take our front one and slide it up into place. Same way we did the rear one. Make sure it'll clear the shock over here on the driver's side. then we can slide it back to where it's about centered there. So now we'll take our center section here, and it's a good idea to get a second set of hands, because when you put it up into place, it can be kind of tricky to hold it there and get the bolt started at the same time. And you want to be sure that this ball goes towards the front. So now with it seated into place, I'm going to take one of my 1/2-inch bolts with flat washer and lock washer and get it started into one of the holes here. A little tech tip for you. Before starting these by hand, you may need to clean out these threads that are in that front cross rail, because sometimes that gray powder coating can get down in there and make it hard to start by hand. Get the rest of them started in this front cross rail. When you put the center section in there, you do want to make sure that the spring-loaded mechanism for the handle that'll lock that ball into place is facing towards the driver's side. Now once we've got our front bolts loosely installed, we can take our rear cross rail and begin to move it forward again in order to get it lined up with these holes. It's not a bad idea to take a pry bar and put it up in the very top edge there, because if you hit along the bottom here, it may flip that bar back down, and then you'll have to pry it back up, and you may fight a little bit. So if you put it up there and then just strike the end of the pry bar with a hammer, you'll be able to move each end in a little bit at a time. Once we've got this rear cross rail pushed into place, we can get our center section put back into place, and then we can take another one of our 1/2-inch bolts, and we'll just kind of start to insert them from the center out through our holes in the cross rail. We can loosely install flat washer, lock washer, and a nut on all three of those. So we can take our side plate, we'll slide it up there, and then we'll take another one of our 1/2-inch bolts with lock washer and flat washer and thread it into our front cross rail and slide it through, and then on the other side put another flat washer followed by lock washer and a nut. Once we've got those two started and loosely installed, we can take another 1/2-inch bolt with flat washer and slide it through each of the holes that are lined up over here. Now we can put on our flat washer, lock washer, and nut. Then we'll move up to the front one and do the same thing. And then we can install the side plate on the driver's side the exact same way, leaving all the bolts loosely installed. Now we can tighten and then torque the bolts on the front and rear cross rails here. So I'll use a 3/4 inch socket. And then on these rear ones, I'll use the socket and a wrench. Now I can torque them to the specification in the instruction manual. And I'll do that same thing with the rest of them. Now we can tighten these side plates to the frame rails. Then we'll tighten down the front bolt. Then once we've got them tightened down, we're ready to torque these through the frame rail. Once we've got that torqued, we'll be able to move to the other side and do the same thing. Now we can tighten down the bolts going through these side brackets into our cross rails. So again, we'll be using a 3/4 inch socket. Then we'll torque both of these down to the spec, and then once we've got both on this side torqued, we'll be able to move to the other side and repeat the same process. Now once we've got all of our bolts and fasteners torqued to the specification and the instructions, we can take our latch handle here and just feed it up through the hole there, then out through the side. And what I'll be able to do is take the 5/16 carriage bolt, comes in the kit, and slide it through there. Make sure it's secured. Then I can take the 1/2" nut that goes on the back side, start tightening that down. Then I'll just have to grab a 1/2" socket in order to tighten that lock nut down all the way. You want to make sure it's nice and tight, not too tight, but tight enough that it's definitely not going to go anywhere. We can take our exhaust hangers and reinstall them. And then you'll want to make sure to grab your support strap that you hung up on the exhaust back here as well. Now the last thing we need to do here is on these inner holes here, we're going to drill these out with a pilot bit, and then we'll end up drilling them out to a 1/2" in order for our safety chain U-bolts to come down through here. Then I'll drill these other 2 inner holes out the same way. Then I'll come back with a little bit bigger bit and just continue to work my way up until I get back to a 1/2". Now, in order to get our safety connection chain U-bolts down into place, they're a little tight going through, especially if you have a floor liner like this. You may just have to just kind of help them by tapping them in. There we go. And they both move up and down freely, which is what we want. We can take one of these conical springs here, along with one of the 1/2" washers, and then on each one of these we'll be able to slide the spring up onto there with the thinnest part facing down towards where the nut will thread on. We'll just want to get that nut started on there, and then we'll do that on all 4. Now we can take a 3/4" socket and tighten the nuts up onto the bottom of these U-bolts, and we'll stop when they're about flush with the bolt coming through to the underside of the nut here. And then we'll do the same thing for the other 3. And once we're all done with that, we don't want to forget to reinstall our spare tire. And that's going to complete our look at the B&W Custom Underbed Installation Kit for the companion 5th wheel trailer hitches, part number BWGNRK 1394-5W on our 2002 Dodge Ram 2500.